Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's sunny, beautiful here. We had a really chilly weekend. Quite chilly actually, but it's sunny all this week. We're heading up to the upper 70s, almost 80 degrees for this week, and we are excited about that. Trying to not to get too over the top excited because we know that we're not out of the woods yet as far as getting some really chilly and cold weather, but we do see spots in the pasture greening up, and we hear the birds chirping and happy for warmer temperatures. And we are ourselves, the boys, have been enjoying going outside and playing, and any mud hole or water areas that they find, you have to get to it before they do, or get them steered in a different direction, because they love their Tonka trucks, and so they're having fun enjoying the spring like weather. So today I thought that we've spent a little bit of time talking about a couple of exciting things. Shine and I spent the day yesterday on Monday making 3 or 4 batches of jellies, raspberry and blackberry jellies, and we are starting a new venture here with on Cedar Creek, and we're going to be making items in our kitchen to sell at farmers market, and just to have private sales as well. That it hasn't happened without trepidation on my part, fear on my part, and I don't know if it's the age that I am or what. It seems like Cheyenne and Blade, they have no fear with those things. They'll jump in with both feet and try anything. They, any kind of little business venture, any kind of little idea that they have, they seem to have no fear with just picking it up and running with it. I, on the other hand, kind of try to weigh everything in the balance and say, well, yeah, this sounds like a good idea, but what about this? And what about this? And I've come to realize that some of that just boils down to fear on my part. And I kind of realized that there are several areas that this fear can take over and really hinder us. And we've spoke about these kind of things before, and it's easy to speak about it, but I really need to practice what I preach. And so I have finally put my feet in the water. I had the knowledge and the know-how to make the jelly. I know how to do that. I know how all that process works from berry to in the jar, and all the other items that we have on the list to make. I have that knowledge, but it's the fear part when it comes to putting it out there for other people. I don't mind a bit to set a table and have these items on my table and let people enjoy those, when they're taking a meal with us or when we're at a church function. But to put it out there and actually expect people to pay money for it, I realized that I had to change my thinking, my thought process. Now, like I said, the kids were like, hey, we'll do it. It'll be fine. And it has taken a while to drag me along. Sometimes I think it boils down to not really having the confidence in myself. Now, I have struggled in life with self-confidence issues, and if you've been with the channel long enough that you remember the very first video that I actually put out, I had to make sure that everybody was gone. Howie and Blade were gone to work for the day, and I took the camera out. Didn't know anything about it other than what I had seen Howie do, and I set it down in front of me. I made a list of the things that I wanted to say, and I just spoke. And it took me a while to get over that fear. Howie had me on videos in times past, and the bashfulness. I'm an extremely bashful person, shy person, but I have came out of that a lot. But I struggle some with self-confidence in some areas, and I think that just getting over the hump and realizing that you are equipped with the knowledge, you're equipped with the wisdom that you need to do whatever it is. Maybe you are a good seamstress, or you're a bread baker, or you're a carpenter, or whatever it is that you have the gifting and the callings to do. You need to realize those and overcome thing that steals you and stops you. And so what we did was we thought about what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses and what are the things that I already have, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to get this farm paid off earlier than what is scheduled. We have several years left on our payment schedule, and we want to hurry that process. And so we want to do things that can enhance. The goal for me was to find something that I could do here at the farm to help get the farm paid off quicker, and so that it would free us up to do other things and to make ends meet. And we all know that it's not getting any easier out there for people and their budgets, and to get that the belts are already tightened. We're stretched as far as we can go, and so we're all trying to find things. So with all of the pushing from Blade and Shine, you can do this, you can do this, you know how to do this, you know what you're doing. We finally did that, and so we made those batches of jellies and preserves, and we'll be continuing to add new things. And so Cheyenne is doing a lot of the business side of it, as far as figuring out what needs to be set up and how a lot of the things that still scares me, that I still have a fear with. But I thought we would spend a little bit of time talking about that today, because those things can really hinder us a lot. I'm comfortable with a lot of things that I have done. I'm comfortable with cooking and baking and all those things. But when it comes to that side of it, the business side of it, we're really fearful and really scared. So let's talk a little bit about those kind of things and what that fear really can do to us and keep us held back and hindered, when the answer is right there in front of our face. With a little bit of work and ingenuity, things can happen. What happens when we let the fear speak louder than the voice that we really need to be listening to? I'm sure that a lot of you would say that this day and age, there's a lot of things that have you fearful. We're looking at a very volatile political season. All of the things that are coming out, the stories and all of the things, and you're having to decipher which would be a better this or that for you. Who's going to be better for your family, for your job, for all your way of life? We begin to think about getting older, and I have to think about that, aging in place, and how to make things easier for me. I'm a little bit different than some, because I do have children here. Blade and Shine are here, and they may not always be in this home with me. They want to build their own home, but they are here on the farm with my three little grandsons, and that brings me a lot of peace and comfort. But and so I know that I'm not doing this all alone, but there are people that are trying to do it all alone, or simply that their family budget is just beyond any kind of give in any area. And so people have a lot of fears and a lot of questions and a lot of anxiety. We all are experiencing those things with pricing and inflation, and even if things appear to be better, a lot of people are not doing better. Fear sometimes can cripple us, and so let's delve into that just a little. Now, some of us would say we have this thing that we want to do, but we're going to put it off because we have a fear of past experiences. Past experiences sometimes can ruin us from ever trying anything in the future. I think about food and how people sometimes are against a certain food, and how he was against Spam. He loved viney sausages, but he hated Spam. But he didn't always hate Spam. He had a bad experience with a stomach virus. He actually had eaten Spam he come home to visit his family when he was living in Missouri before we ever even met and got married. He came in and visited, and his stepmom had made a dish, and when he went home, he made the dish that she had made. In the process of time, though, he had contracted a stomach virus, or stomach sickness of some kind, and got violently ill for a few days, and all of the things that came along with that made him connect that to what he had had last to eat and what had made him sick. And so he, for the rest of his life, would not eat Spam. Now, we were married over 27 years, and that entire time I ate Spam, but he would not. People connect something to their past experience. I got sick on butterscotch when I was a little girl, and to this day, I'm not crazy about butterscotch. And so we connect this thing, this fear of something that we need to do or something that we could do because we've had experiences in the past. Now, when I was a young girl, my dad and my stepmom, they took us to Silver Dollar City in Missouri. And Silver Dollar City has a cave, Marvel Cave. And we went on a tour of this cave. I've been in it several times, but I will tell you that I did not enjoy it. I've been in it twice. Once when I was a little girl, once when I was a young, probably 19, 20 years old. Have been in it both of those times and did not have any fun. You know, they tell you the stories about the bald knobbers and all of the different things that they explain while you're in the cave, and they show you all these caverns, and they show you all of the stalagmites and stalactites and all of those things that are in the cave that are marvels, I will say that. But I don't like being in those kind of situations. I'm claustrophobic. Although it's big, cavernous areas in some places, there were some smaller areas too, and I did not enjoy them. At the end of your time in this cave, it's about 60 minutes, they bring you out to the surface. I think you're like 500 foot down. They bring you out to the surface on this little cable train that you get in, and it pulls you up. And I can remember getting in this train, and it's dark, and I just connect that with this fear that I have of that experience that I had when I was little, the experience when I had a little bit older. And the fear of that train, the fear of all of it together just was not an experience that I was happy with. In fact, when Howie and I took Blade, when he was a little boy there, we had our niece with us, they toured the cave, and I stayed up in the gift shop the entire hour that they were on the tour because of my past experience on that train, that I did not enjoy it. Now, part one being scared and claustrophobic, and also having another experience around that same time when I was a young girl. They took us to the county fair. And at the county fair, they had this roller coaster. And my dad and one of my brothers and I, we rode this roller coaster. I think it was called the Super Loop. And we were riding the ride, and we were enjoying it somewhat when I could still ride rides without getting sick. And the roller coaster broke down. And it broke down with us upside down, up on the top of the loop. In the car, you had your shoulder restraints on, but it was fearful for me because even though those shoulder restraints held, the seatbelts held, there was still that fear, feeling your body press up against that, knowing that if that thing broke, you were likely in trouble. That was another really bad experience that I had. And so those experiences, if you were to say to me today, let's go do this, walk through this cave, or let's ride this roller coaster, or let's do this or that, my answer would be no, because I would have a fear of past experiences. Just like Howie had a fear of eating Spam because of his past experience with that. Past experiences can stop us in our tracks and keep us from moving forward with the answer that we're seeking sometimes. Sometimes it's a fear of failure. And I guess you could say that's one of the things that I worry about. What happens if we make all of these items and we put it out there and we advertise and we Nobody wants our products. What's that going to say about us? You know, fear of failure sometimes can be with this channel, with putting yourself out there for other people that you've never met in your entire life, to listen to you talk, to see what you look like, make judgments about you. And it is sometimes a fear of failure when you go and you read the comments section. And I will tell you that most everyone that makes comments on this channel are very polite, very nice, very thoughtful people. But we have had some very, very nasty comments, and you put yourself out there for that. I realize that. But that fear of failure, that fear that, oh, they won't like me, or they won't like this product, or they won't like what they're hearing, that'll stop you. That'll keep you frozen sometimes. And I will tell you that I have struggled with that this last year. I've had some comments on this channel about some different things, and it really crippled me a little bit on content, because I wanted to put something out there, and in the back of my mind, I could hear that little voice and repeating the comments that they had made on the channel. And so I've had to push those things down and realize that I cannot let those individuals, 2 or 3 individuals at the most, saying those things, stop me from what I really feel like that the Lord has given me a platform. I inherited it from Howie. He had a platform. He done so well. He was so wonderful at it, and I kept it going. And although I know I'm not Howie, but it has been at times been a real issue for me and a real trigger, thinking that I'm going to fail. Same with singing. I think back when Howie and I first got married and was working in ministry with church and going to different places. And I grew up in a family that there are some fantastic singers and musicians, and part of Christian groups, and singing in churches and traveling all over, and very, very talented people. And I grew up in that. But I always second guessed my ability and my strengths. And so I would get up to sing and I would just barely sing, or I wouldn't, open my mouth and be confident in it. Or I would get my song, I would practice it, I would have it all ready and get to church, and the first few chords on the piano, and it was my time to start singing, and I just could not do it. And it really hindered me for a long, long time. I started singing with Howie when we got married, and Howie and I started singing together, and it got a little better and a little better, and I started building confidence in that. And so now, I've not that I'm, anybody special, but I sing at church all the time, and I sing at weddings, and I've sung it at some funerals, and the Lord has been there with me, and the failure factor for me has changed, that I realized that singing is a ministry, and singing is a way of touching other people. Will I ever have my lights, or will I ever have my name in bright lights? No. And I don't want that. I just want to be able to be used right where I'm at, in church and those around, and not worry about failure, not worry about not being able to be the most popular or the most well-liked. We have to get over that and press forward and continue to do what we know we need to be doing, and not worry about the failure. It's like growing your gardens, and there has been years with Howie and I growing tomatoes that the tomatoes were just so prolific that I was just overwhelmed with tomatoes. And then there were other years that it was just, we were doing everything we could to get enough tomatoes to really have anything to eat fresh and to put up in jars, because that year the tomatoes didn't do so well. With your garden, you can be afraid of failure. if you've never done it before. There's an investment with your tools and with your seeds and the plants and the things that you put in. There's a fear. There can be a fear of failure of that. There can also be a fear of the past experience. Well, I grew a garden and it didn't work and I planted this and it didn't do anything. I've planted the last 3 years. I've planted Cherokee purple tomatoes. And this last year, I finally was able to get some good Cherokee purples. And so I have that on my list. Those tomatoes are going back in this year in my garden. And I'm not going to let the fear of the past keep me from planting something that I really want to continue until I'm successful at it. And I guess that's what the lesson is for all of us, is to push past the fear. Don't let the past experiences, don't let the fear of failure, don't let those keep us from pushing forward and do what we know that we need to do. Now, a lot of us have experienced the fear of the unknown. We don't really know what's gonna happen, and that scares us. We have a fear of that. And if you can get a handle on that, and trust that even though you might be afraid, if you'll go ahead and do that thing, then after the first time that you plant a garden, you process a batch of hamburger meat in your pressure canner or whatever it is that is fearful to you, when you do that thing, then it's not the fear of the unknown anymore because you have done it. That doesn't mean you're expert. Some of us, it takes us a while to become an expert in something. But you, each time that you do it, it gets a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less fearful. And when we continue to press forward and do the things that are unknown to us, but it's a learning process for us, that makes us stronger. It doesn't make us weaker, and failure doesn't make us weaker. Not doing the thing because we're afraid of failure does make us weaker. Not doing the thing because of the past experiences, that does make us weaker on some things. Now, there are some things that we've tried and it won't work. Perhaps it's not meant and we can get rid of that thing. But every failure doesn't equal complete failure. Sometimes failure, and you studying that and trying to figure out why you failed, gives you a greater knowledge so that the next time that you try it, you'll be more successful. Now, Corrie ten Boom said, when a train goes through a tunnel and it gets dark, you don't throw away your ticket and jump off. You sit still and you trust the engineer. So even though it gets a little dark, even though it gets a little scary, even though we kind of grit our teeth and wring our hands sometimes, if we'll trust the engineer, we'll trust the Lord and lean on Him and hold on to what we know to be true and move forward, sometimes in fear, because we've got those lingering experiences in our head, and we have that, what if I fail, in my head. If we'll continue to push through, then we'll be to the other side, and who knows what might happen. You'll get your garden that you've been looking so forward to. You'll learn a new skill like processing, canning, doing those things, woodworking, learning to drive a tractor. That's me. Lots of other things that we need to accomplish. Guys, it's not getting easier. It's really not getting easier. A lot of people are struggling. I don't know how it is in your area, but here, the blessing boxes that we have outside our churches, in our small rural area, there's 4 or 5 blessing boxes in our area. Those are just little boxes that are outside of our churches and different facilities in our town. I'm sure some y'all have probably seen them. And people put items in there that others that are in need can go and take those items. not feel bad about it. It's kind of like a food pantry that's just there all the time for small items. And those are staying empty all the time. We restocked, church restocked yesterday. I'm pretty sure that most of the things are gone out of there again. And we're putting in food items, we're putting in laundry items, putting in hygiene items, dish soap, all of those kind of things. And they are staying pretty empty. We make sure, not just us, but other churches are making sure that they let people know that the boxes are being filled, baby foods and all kinds of items. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with that and that you do that in your areas as well. And so that lets me know that there are people that are in need. The need hasn't gotten any easier. Where we live, where I'm at, the need is great. And I'm sure that the need is great in other areas. So I would challenge you to get over the fear of the things that get you help, that hold you back, things that you need to know, that you need to do for your family. And like I said, my fear was putting stuff out there, a little bit of a business venture. It's scary, but I've done it anyways. And I'll just show you a sample. This is one of my little jars of jelly. This one is actually blackberry. I haven't made any jam yet this go around. I've just made jellies. In fact, I didn't make jam because I love strawberry jelly. I don't like strawberry jam. I don't like chunky. And Howie didn't like seeds. So blackberry and raspberry, I always made seedless. But I did get somebody already wanting raspberry with the seeds, which would be a raspberry jam. And so anyway, I am on this new venture. I'll be adding new products all the time. This is by no means a sales pitch to you guys. Maybe a prayer request that y'all pray for me. I'm just going to see where this venture goes and trust the process. Trusting the process is an important thing, that we don't fear the past experience and don't fear the unknown and don't fear failure. We can get up, pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and go on again. So I hope that I have encouraged your hearts, that if there's something that's been burning on your heart, you've wanted to do that thing, that you'll push forward and you'll do it and not be worried about the past, the old hindrances. Step forth. And sometimes we have to step forth even in fear. We have to still take that first step. So guys, this is Josie. I love you guys. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. And until next time, we're gone.